is the Star Wars The Black Series from Star Wars The Clone Wars, the final form of Darth Maul with the robot legs and his restored lightsabers. I picked up this figure from Hobby Corner for about 31 US dollars. Let's get him out of packaging. Here is Darth Maul out of packaging. Boy, this figure looks amazing. I honestly did not expect it to look this great, but it does. This figure is a brand new sculpt. We'll talk about that later. The details are just fantastic. The overall sculpt design is just phenomenal on this figure. Just blown away by this figure. I'm so glad I actually picked it up. Let's take a closer look at the details of this figure. And here he is with a couple other Darth Maul figures from the Black Series line. We've got the comic book Darth Maul, as well as the Orange line, the original release, first version of Darth Maul from the Phantom Menace. And they all look great, but looking at these three together, it looks like this latest version has the best sculpt and detail. He's always going to be my favorite, but he's just looking so great compared to the other two Darth Maul figures. Now let's get the comparisons on the way. Let's start with the lightsaber hilt. And if you notice, the comic book version and the Orange line figures, they do share the same double-bladed lightsaber hilt, at least the one that has the male peg. It's the same one, they just repainted it. However, this new Darth Maul figures is sporting a brand new lightsaber hilt. I thought it was exactly the same, but it's not. You can clearly see that it's been remolded to have the peg right here, so you can attach it onto his belt. The port, the male peg, is different now. This one is a crescent half moon peg, whereas this new one is just a cylindrical peg. Obviously, the paint apps are much different. I do prefer this metallic silver over this one. This one just makes it look artificial. This one really looks like it's made of metal. And then you will notice also that the lightsaber blade is much longer and much thicker, albeit lighter in shade of translucent plastic. I do prefer this darker red plastic though, but it's thicker and it's much longer than the previous lightsabers that we've gotten in the Black Series. Let's go ahead and compare the head sculpt for a moment. You can clearly see how accurate this latest head sculpt is compared to the others. The thorns on his head are a lot more pointier than the first version, obviously, as well as the second version. You can see that he's got this sneer going on compared to this sort of like laughing, sinister laugh type of smile that he's got on, and this one's like a poker face, like scowling face sculpt. Look at this. Look at that sneer. It's so sinister, and I'm so glad they didn't make it look all cartoony, and they made it very realistic, as though it was or it were a movie figure. Now onto the details of the figure. You can clearly see how much improved that head sculpt is. He's got a tunic that's a separate piece right here. He's got some PNAPs on his chest. This one looks cartoony though. This is red and black PNAPs. He's got a belt where he was severed right here by Kenobi, so everything else is cybernetic right here. Very nicely sculpted and painted. He's got these shoulder pads that, much like Anakin Skywalker and the rest of the other Black Series figures that were released this year and last year, they're on rings, so they kind of move simultaneously with the arm. It's made of soft PVC material, but they actually move very nicely. He's got some gauntlets painted nicely as well. Lower part of the tunic in soft PVC material. And finally, here is what I think just really highlights this figure. The best feature of this figure are these legs. These are really sculpted very nicely. They're made of very solid plastic, none of that gummy, soft PVC material. They are bordering on battle droid sculpt right here. Look at that. Painted very nicely with some metallic gray highlights here and there. Most of the legs are made of this unpainted, glossy, pearlesque type of gray plastic, which is really nice. And I think these are what really sold me with this figure. These legs and the head sculpt. Those are the two best features of this figure. I mean, come on. Hasbro really outdid themselves with this figure. It's just an amazing, amazing sculpt and design. Now, these lightsabers, obviously this one was from his original sword, and this one is the new one that he constructed together with Savage Opress, or I think Savage constructed it for him. And they can actually combine. Just be very careful with it. And yeah, it's pretty long. It sags a little bit. There's a little bit of softness to it, but that's fine. The lightsaber blades are removable. They have this flared pegs, and you can actually just peg that lightsaber on the side of his belt. Articulation for the figure, the neck is on a double ball joint here, ball joint there, and a third ball joint at the base of the neck. The upper torso is on a ball joint. The shoulders can go in and out, forward and backward. They do have butterfly joints as well. The waist or the hips, they can do the splits. They're on ball joints, forward and backward. Got a thigh swivel. The knees are on swivel hinges. They're not double hinges. It's a shame. The ankles, they go up and down, and I've got the rocker tilt. You got an elbow hinge right here and a swivel. The wrists can swivel. This one goes up and down, and the other one goes up and down as well. And so some final thoughts on this Star Wars The Black Series Darth Maul from Star Wars The Clone Wars. Well, I don't think I need to say any more. I am absolutely blown away by this figure. This figure looks amazing. I didn't think it was going to turn out this well, but I am pleasantly surprised. I am so stoked with this figure. This is probably, I keep saying this is probably the best Darth Maul figure we have for the Black Series line. My favorite is still going to be the first version of Darth Maul, which is Episode 1, The Phantom Menace Darth Maul. That's always going to be a classic for me. That's always going to be my all-time favorite Darth Maul. But in terms of detail, sculpt, just overall design of the figure, this has got to be the best one Hasbro's ever put out to date. The figure is going to get a 10 out of 10. I love that we have a completely brand new sculpt for this figure. We got a new head sculpt, new lightsabers, a new body, new sculpting everywhere. Just really, really pleased with this figure. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think of the Star Wars The Black Series from Star Wars The Clone Wars Darth Maul. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.